Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be comparing the all-new Mazda CX-90 to the recently refreshed Toyota Highlander. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Brent Brown Toyota here in Orem, Utah for giving me some time with the Highlander, and then to the Orem Mazda for giving me some time with the CX-90. I'll include a link to both of their websites in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And by the way, both of these vehicles that I'm using in this comparison are available for sale for the time being. So reach out to either store if you're interested in either of these specific vehicles. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the Highlander is a turbocharged 2.4-liter four-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 265 horsepower and then 310 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the CX-90 is a turbocharged 3.3-liter inline-six that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 24 around town and then 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 280 horsepower and then 332 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting off with the Highlander, when it comes to stylistic cues, it's actually pretty interesting what they've done with the design. If you look at the hood, it's got this very boxy, muscular look, but then you come down to the front bumper and the grille, and it's kind of more rounded off, a little bit more angular, especially with the light design. And so it's interesting that Toyota has kind of mixed those two design languages together. And then when it comes to the front end design of the CX-90, it's a lot more consistent. You guys can see here with the hood how there's not a lot of body lines, but just flat there in the center, right? Very boxy with the appearance. And when you pop down to the rest of the front end, you can see that that continues with the headlight design. The grille has very vertical, and so it kind of all comes together. But either way, let me know which front end you like more, CX-90 or Highlander. So coming around the side here, time wheel setup is 235, 65, 18 in the front and over in the rear with the Toyota. And when it comes to the wheel design, you've got silver there on the top, and then notice how it's like metallic gray there in the center portion. And then if we take a few steps back and look at the side profile of the Highlander, you can see the wheels pop out quite a bit, and then also the trim there at the bottom of the windows. But if you look at the overall design here on the side, notice how it just kind of like flows to the back. So it's just interesting that they went for like boxy with the hood, but then everything else, it flows. Now, coming around the side here, our time wheel set up with the Mazda is 265, 55, 19 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see here with the wheel design, they've definitely gone for more of a luxury car appearance. And you notice that throughout the CX-90. And then here's our full side view with the CX-90. Now, just like the Highlander, you've got unpainted fender flares, but notice that that coloration on those trim pieces actually matches the trim around the windows. So it's a lot more uniform, right? The Highlander kind of has some chrome elements and then some blacked out elements, whereas this, it's all blacked out, including the little inline six badge there on the side. But let me know what you guys think about the side profile here on the CX-90. Again, it kind of goes with the boxy design until you get to the very end, then it's obviously rounded back there. Now, here are the key fobs for both the cars. You guys can see with the Toyota key fob here, you've got the opening for the hatch lock and unlock. And then the CX-90 key fob is Mazda's standard key fob that, well, has all the same functions. Now, popping into the cargo area with the CX-90, first off, you guys can see a little storage area underneath. And then we actually have some charging port action back here. Now, just like most crossovers in this segment, the space behind the third row isn't massive. Again, that's typical with the segment. But if you want more space, you can just pull this and then you can push the seat forward, and then that will give you even more storage space in the back. And when you're all done with the rear, just press that button right there and that will lower the hatch down. You can also lock it as well. Now, popping over to the Highlander, this is convenient, so you guys can see here with the storage, it looks like it's pretty similar to the Mazda, including the storage behind the third row, and same thing with a little strap situation to throw this down. And so, yeah, practicality is pretty much the same, and guess what? This is also the same, except there isn't a little lock function. And then wrapping things up with the rear of the Highlander, I think the taillights actually have a pretty cool effect to them. Then you guys can see all the rest of the badges here in the back in normal Toyota fashion, but definitely just kind of like a sharp end. It almost like comes to a point. Whereas here with the Mazda, you guys can see how, again, it's more rounded off on the back end side of things. Notice with the taillight design, I think these taillights look absolutely crazy. It's a really cool design they went for with that. But either way, let me know which back end you like more, whether it's Highlander or Mazda. I feel like the Highlander is more traditional crossover, whereas the Mazda, they're trying something new. So in the back of the Toyota, legroom is really good. We also have this little control pad here for the climate system in the back. We have some charging ports here, and if we look in the door panel, we actually have some sunshades for the rear passengers. And then look at all of the padding there on the armrest, and then you have some extra storage down below. And then headroom back here is also really good. And here's a quick look at the seats with this particular Highlander. Now getting into the third row is pretty easy. Just pull this latch right here, and then that will let you push the seat forward, and then you gotta like kind of scoot back in there. Now in the third row of the Highlander, pretty typical for this segment, legroom is definitely on the cramped side of things. We do have some cup holders here in the back. We've got vents throughout on the ceiling, and then headroom, I'm touching the top. Now in the back of the CX-90, I will say the second row back here feels slightly smaller than the Toyotas, but it's still more than spacious enough. And then we still have nice features like our sunshades. And then I love this on the door panel. It looks really beautiful. And then you can see the stitching down below as well. And while we're on stuff that's beautiful, look at these seats. Definitely have a luxury car appearance to them. And then we have our controls for the climate system back here, some USB action. And then headroom back here, it's good. Now chilling here in the third row, I will say I actually feel like I have more space in the back of the CX-90 than I do in the Highlander when it comes to the third row. Still got some cup holder action, some USB action, and we actually have some ventilation back here, you can see down below, which is really nice. And then I actually fit back here, so like I have more headroom here than I do in the Highlander. Now taking a look at the steering wheel here with the Highlander, I'd say pretty nice material use all around. Feels good in your hands. And then if you zoom in, you can see you've got our cruise controls right here. You've got radio controls, controls for the center stack, all of that fun stuff. And while we're over here, with the door panel at the front, nice padding right there. And then it is soft touch here at the top, which is another nice thing. And then on the side, see the controls there for the lights, and then the hatch, and then you got some odometer stuff above, and then more of that padding. And popping into the gauge cluster itself, you can see you do have the analog elements on either side, but you have that screen there in the center which you can scroll through to see different bits of info on systems within the car. And if we pop it into reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines. They don't turn at the steering wheel, but resolution on it's pretty solid. Now this is Toyota's newer infotainment system, so it has a shortcut bar here on the side. And response time on it's pretty good. It does take a second for some of the menus to load up, but overall I'd say it's pretty user-friendly. And then you can see down below, we've got our climate controls, heated seats for the front as well, and then you can control the rear climate here from the front if you want. And then we've got our wireless phone charging pad here, and you can see that padding continues all around. Storage above the glove box, and then you guys can see down below, pretty nice storage there. And then we got some USB action here, and then shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission. You got some cup holder action right next to it. Hill descent control, your snow mode, stability control, auto hold, and then your parking brake. And then we've got a drive mode select, which will actually pop up here in the center. It's got sport, normal, and eco that you can go between, and they'll just let you know because it says it's in sport mode. And then we also have some off-road modes. So we have our mud and sand, and then we have our rock and dirt mode as well. And then you just press that to pop into normal. And then this is a weird center console. I've always thought that, how it kind of does that for the opening. I don't know, it's definitely different, that is for sure. And then this one does happen to have a sunroof as well. The controls for it are just right there. Now taking a look at the steering wheel with the CX-90, definitely has a more upscale appearance compared to the Toyota. And same thing with like the controls here for like the cruise control, your volume controls, all of that. It just, I don't know, has some more upscale appearance to it. And door panel, again with the trim soft touch here at the top, and then also down below. Again, more of a luxury appearance. That's kind of what I'm noticing here with the CX-90 so far. And then you can see here in the gauge cluster, a similar situation. I love the 3-gauge layout that they have here. Has a very clean appearance to it, but you can still scroll through and see different bits of info on the car, just like what you have with the Toyota. And then popping over the infotainment system, you have a backup camera here with trajectory lines, and sorry about that, but resolution on it's pretty solid. And then as for the infotainment system itself, it is all controlled via a dial. This is not a touchscreen whatsoever. Mazda says that this is safer and that it's just a better solution overall for the infotainment system, I guess, problem in cars, right? Like, how do you make the best infotainment system? And then down below, I've got nice padding here on the dash, and it's also soft touch here at the top. And while we're at the top, we have heads-up display, which is another nice feature to have. And then down below, you guys can see here with the storage space, and we almost missed the climate controls right there. We do have heated seats just like the Highlander. We've got our tri-zone climate system, and again, just look at how this is displayed. And same thing with like the material use on the dash. And then we do have our drive mode select. Now with this, we actually get kind of like that little depiction of the 90, which is fun. And then this shifter is so unique. So you push it over, and then that's how you get it into gears, just up and down. But it's interesting how you just push it over first. And then you guys can see cup holder action. And again, look at this trim. Again, this is kind of what you see in luxury cars like Audis and stuff typically. This does have hill descent control, and then this is your control stack. Sorry about the lighting, that shot's horrible. But there's your control stack for the infotainment system. And then you got the center console, which I guess is unique in its own way because it opens up with two different tabs there. And then we've got the glove box, which is actually really big. And then this has a manual mirror dimmer. And then just like the Highlander, we got a sunroof, controls for it just right there. Now when it comes to pricing, the Highlander stickers for about $46,000 and then the CX-90 stickers for about $47,000. So I originally thought that I was going to be able to fit the driving and the walk around in one video for this comparison, but the runtime's a little bit too long, so I'm going to have to split up this video into two separate videos. So this is obviously the walk around comparison. The second video will be the driving comparison between CX-90 and Highlander. And again, that's another reason for you to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because as soon as I post that video, you'll be notified if you're subscribed. But anyways, let me know if you are Team Highlander or Team CX-90 after the walk around comparison. Which vehicle do you feel like gives you, I guess, the best bang for your buck when it comes to interior and exterior options? I'll see you guys in the next video.